the only one I told madam.
International.
Mr. Sabally, may we remind you that you're still under oath? If that's okay, you can have a seat.
Mr. Sabally.
Yes.
You were signatory to several accounts. One of them is the mobilization account.
Yes.
I'd like us to start with that account today. Did you collect the exhibit? When did you become signatory to that account?
I don't quite remember, but I know that when you come in as SG, by default you become signatory to all the accounts under the Office of the President.
All right. Now, this I'll just show you firstly exhibit BB70, which has specimen signatures. Just confirm whether you're one of them for the record. You're one of the signatories
Yes.
on that record?
Yes.
All right, thank you. You came in as Secretary General. Can you remind us the date?
June 2013.
June 2013.
Yes.
And you left again? When did you leave?
Around June 2014.
For about a year. Now, during the period that you were signatory to that account, some payments were made into that account. You were signatory at the same time as Mrs. Fatou Lamin Faye, who at the time was the Minister of Basic Education. There was an inflow on the 1st of November 2013 in the sum of 3,084,360. I'm sure this was brought to your attention. Did you account for that amount?
I don't actually remember the inflow you were talking about.
Okay. You recollect, I will show you, maybe that might jog your memory. I'll show you a statement from the account. Page 10. The date is 7th November 2013. Does that help?
Is it the one marked with the orange?
It's paged. If you look at that page, There's only one inflow in the sum of 3 million, and it's that inflow I'm talking about.
This is page 1. Is this the one you're talking about?
It's paged on the right-hand side corner to the right, top right. All the sheets are paged. That's what I mean. They are numbered, page 1, 2, 3. Go to page 10.
10.
Yes.
Yes, I see the 3 million here.
Yes. Do you remember that money?
No, I don't.
I do remember Mrs. Fatou Lamin Faye says that that was with regard to the visit of President Goodluck Jonathan. Does that in any way help in jogging your memory?
That sounds right.
Right. Now, what was the arrangement regarding that account? How the mobilization account, how were you supposed to account for funds that were paid into that account?
Like I said, when you come in as Secretary General, you become signatory to these accounts by default. Some of these accounts, actually, I don't remember offhand, but when I met your panel of investigators and I was asked, I actually told them I don't remember anything about this, but that whatever Fatou Lamin Faye says about it, I would take as fact. And based on that and the documents I was shown, I could confirm that I was a signatory to this account and that certain expenditures were made in relation to the official visit of the former Nigerian president, Goodluck Jonathan.
Okay. What I would like to understand is why you were relying on Fatou Lamin Faye. We just want to understand how this account was managed. You are signatory. Did you expect to account for the monies that were leaving the mobilization account? What was the arrangement for accounting for the funds that you were authorizing?
Well, I was a signatory on these accounts,
yes.
And I know that all government transactions are subject to audit. And when that period comes, the officials charged with this accountability process would make available all documents related to transactions for verification. That's by default from my service in the country's financial system.
Where was this account being managed from? Because you had 3 ministers. You had the Secretary General and Minister of Presidential Affairs, who was yourself. And then you had the Minister of Basic Education. You also had the Minister of Tourism and Culture. Before that, you had the Minister of Finance. So amongst these 3, was there a ministry that was managing this account? What was supposed to happen?
Well, all I know is I am a co-signatory, and I do know also that I've been signatory to other accounts in tandem with other ministers. But due to the busy schedule of the Office of the Secretary General, sometimes some of these ministers actually take the lead in managing transactions for some of these accounts and also the events associated with the accounts.
So you cannot tell us anything specifically about the way this account was managed? Is that what you're saying?
I don't remember.
I'll show you the withdrawals from the accounts, which were done mostly by check, I think almost all by check. And I'd like you to confirm from the 12th of November, until the 25th of You are signatory to the International Gateway account?
Yes.
I'd like to show you Exhibit CB18. Can I have CB16, please? CB16. What was the purpose of the International Gateway account?
I think it was to receive payments of revenues accruing from the operation of the International Telecommunications Gateway.
And what was the International Telecommunications Gateway?
From what I know,
You may proceed.
yes, from what I know, it's the gateway through which the country's telecommunications dealing with the outside world passes through, and these operations generate revenue in favor of the country.
Who was paying, what was the source of the funds into the gateway account?
During my time, it was the entities who were granted the license to manage the gateway on behalf of the Gambia.
Had you seen the license agreement when you became Secretary General?
Not the old one. When the operations of the one who was there when I came ended, I was privy to an incoming one. That was the MGI one. I saw that one. But the one that was binding us with TEL, by the time I come in, the operations were on, so I just became a signatory to the account.
You were a signatory to the one with TEL, apparently, and not the one with MGI.
What I remember is signing the one with MGI, not TEL.
Okay. Well, we'll show you the documents.
Okay.
Where's the MGI one? Whilst we're waiting for CB16, I'd just like to show you the first transaction I would like you to explain. This is a transaction dated 8 October 2013 for the sum of 610,000 US dollars. Could you? You have Exhibit 16. Exhibit 16. Do you have 16? Did you bring it?
Okay, whilst we are waiting, can you tell us the meaning of MGI, the acronym MGI?
I don't remember.
I see. Very well.
Have you seen the transaction?
Yes.
Okay. You authorized the transaction
Yes.
together with Mr. Ture.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Batata Jawara was here this morning, and he confirmed that you had sent him to the central bank to receive monies relating to this transaction.
Yes.
What happened to the monies?
We handed it over to the president, the former president.
You handed it over to the former president?
Yes.
Who handed it over to the former president?
I would not remember. So when these transactions happen, sometimes the person receiving it could hand it over to the president. Sometimes it's given to me to hand it over to him, and sometimes the president would send staff from his residence, the orderlies, to come and pick it.
So with regard to this particular transaction,
with regard to this particular, I don't remember exactly how it was handed over to him.
So, how do we know it was handed over to the president?
Well, just through testimonies from the people who were present. If it involved the staff, the soldiers, orderlies in his residence, it's actually recorded in a choir book, and the giver and the receiver would sign. I spoke to you also in my previous testimony of a system I devised with my then Deputy Nuha Toure, where occasionally we would lump all these transactions in 1 minute and forward it to the president for his confirmation and endorsement that the directives were issued and implemented as directed by him. Those documents are also filed.
Yes, you know there are numerous transactions, as you well know, Mr. Sabally.
Yes.
And we can, as the Commission, we require your assistance to unravel some of these transactions.
Yes.
You'd agree that 610,000 US dollars is a lot of money for any Gambian.
Very well.
Yes, so if there is any documentation that would substantiate what you're saying, we request that you direct the investigators to it, or you make an effort to contact the Secretariat to retrieve the documents.
Okay.
Exhibit 16 better. It's all right.
Mr. Sabally, while Council is going through, can you tell us, to the best of your knowledge, what all this money was used for?
All this money as in this particular transaction?
And any that you may relate to it. The accumulation of cash. There was a trail of flow of dollars, euros. Any idea what this was used for?
I would not know specifically how the president would use these funds, but I know that I've been privy to transactions where he would give out cash to state events, to youth organizations, to artists, to other people who would come and visit him, well-wishers. But to tie specifically any particular transaction to how the president used it, I cannot tell that.
It's a lot of cash.
Yes, a lot.
Even for gifts.
Yes.
We're looking at millions.
Very well.
And The idea is for national development. These funds were meant for national development.
Yes.
But having it into the State House through military escort to the president, there is simply a better way to develop the country.
Absolutely.
So if you as SG do not know, who would know?
Well, the former president would know. I could tell you one thing also. I remember occasions where he would be going on this provincial tour and he would ask for cash to be withdrawn, handed over to him.
Why foreign? Why foreign?
Well, sometimes it's foreign, sometimes it's actually dollars, because the withdrawals are both in local currency and in foreign currency.
Mostly foreign, we have seen. On
Yes.
some occasions, a lot of local, like the 21 million.
Yes.
Yes. So our idea is for national development, it needn't have gone through the State House. It could have been done through our institutions.
Very well.
So what we want to know is how do we account for this money? It wasn't an individual possession. It was national wealth.
Very well.
Received sometimes through your signature. There is an element of accountability that simply doesn't permit, I don't know. Observation, presence, coincidence, something should help the Gambian people find out where part of the money, if not all, is gone. And that's what we are trying to find out, to the best of your ability.
Very well. You would agree with me that also there is a legally instituted commission who is working by the law, and I know the law goes by evidence. So I don't want to come here to make any speculations, because I know the former president is a very complex person. Whether people believe that or not, I know it better. So I don't want to make speculations that would turn out to not be right in the future. So that's why I'm very careful what I say here. I only say here what I know to be a fact. But you would appreciate, I don't know whether you know also, that my relationship with this commission did not start with my coming here to sit in public. I have collaborated with your investigators. I have explained in a written document the framework of operation of the presidency, and given freely, to best of my knowledge, how these accounts are operated, how these monies are received, and everything that I could remember very well to be fact, I gave in written documents signed by me that is available to this commission. Okay. And I'm willing to cooperate.
Let's help you. Yes. For your information, we're not privy to whatever you have submitted. That's the reason we're asking you.
Okay.
So do not mind repeating yourself.
Well, I want to make that known to this commission then, because I was called in the name of the commission. The people who called me in the name of the commission that they are preparing for the work of this commission of inquiry, and that's why I cooperated.
There is a stage. The stage has not gotten to where we have read what you've written. So please help us. Well,
I'm not sure I can right now where I'm sitting try to restate everything that I've stated, because this is a lot of information, and it was not just one particular interaction or documentation that I suspended, but as and when the occasion arises, I'll tell you what I remember to be facts. But I repeat, I don't want to speculate at a commission of inquiry. I'm very mindful of that, and I hope the commission understands that also.
Fair enough. Counsel, your witness.
Sabally.
Yes.
I showed you this transaction for $610,000.
Yes.
I'd like you to look at this document, which is MS-43. And it's a minute from one of the, from PR/C/503, volume 6, 141 MT.
Yes.
What can you tell us about that minute? Can you read that minute, please?
It reads, Your Excellency, following our discussion on the issue of Tobaski Ram sale, I have identified the recently opened International Telecommunications Gateway account at the Central Bank as having some money, 610,852, being government revenue paid by TEL on 28 September 2013. I respectfully propose that my humble self and the Secretary Cabinet be signatories to the account. The amount will be reimbursed to the accounts once the RAM sale is over.
That was your own minute to the former president.
Yes.
I'll show you again CB 18, which is the withdrawal of $610,000. What is the date of that minute, by the way?
This is 8 October 2013.
I'll show you exhibit CB 18, which is also dated 8 October 2013, for the withdrawal of 610,000 United States dollars.
Yes.
And could you kindly tell me whether it has any connection with the minute that you have just read out? Do you have another copy of exhibit CB 18 with you?
Yes.
Yes. Could you tell us, is there any connection? Thank you. Between the minute you just read out and the withdrawal of 610,000 US dollars?
Yes. I think these two transactions are related.
So how are they related? Could you expatiate?
From the record you have shown me, I can remember and infer that the money withdrawn was used by the president to purchase rams for Tobaski sales, as he used to do at what he called reasonable prices, with the understanding that he would reimburse the funds into the relevant account.
Did he reimburse the funds?
I would not know.
Why don't you know? You were signatory to the account.
Well, this account is just one of the accounts under that office. And I left that office less than a year before the subsequent Tobaski. So that's why I don't want to speculate on the matter, whether he actually paid.
Well, we are not actually asking you to speculate. This is fact. On the 8th of October 2013, the amount of 610,000 US dollars was withdrawn from this account.
Yes.
For us Gambians, this is a lot of money.
Very well.
You are Secretary General and you are accounting officer for your office.
Yes.
And according to your minute, you were suggesting, it was your suggestion, that that money be withdrawn and utilized for the purchase of rams. And that the money would be refunded. And my question to you is, was the money refunded?
My answer, Ma, is I admit that the money was withdrawn as per a discussion we had with him, and that the money was handed over to him, and they went and purchased rams and brought it back. And there was a designated officer at the presidency, Fatu Jangom, to account for these repayments.
Fatu?
Jangom.
Okay.
She was partly responsible for, especially loans that were given to civil servants. Some of these rams were given to civil servants as loans. She was accounting for these monies, and the loan is giving out like 1/6 over a period of 6 months, with of course a grace period. And I'm saying, I confirm that all of this happened when I was there, but I did leave that office. I was fired before the subsequent Tobaski, and because of that, I cannot confirm that this money was paid or not.
So there was no time limit within which it should have been returned?
Sorry, excuse me.
There was no limit. There was no limit as to when the money would have been returned?
That's not specified in the documents that I have here.
Did you try to find out whether the money was paid at any point? Since
No.
you had suggested that the money be used for Tobaski rams?
No.
As a matter of interest, why would you as Secretary General suggest that the President use monies in public funds to purchase rams?
It's simply because of the fact that, as depicted in the minute, this came out of a discussion we had with him. So it would not just me coming to tell the President, take this money and buy rams. It came out of a discussion, and the whole discussion could not be reflected in the minute due to the busy nature of that office. What was recorded is that the President took money that he promised to refund, that he was going to use to buy rams to help Muslims during the Tobaski.
So can we understand, because that minute on its own just indicates that you were making a suggestion to the president to use money in that fund to buy rams and refund it later on. You are saying there was a discussion. What was the nature of the discussion?
The discussion would be, as usual, the president will call us, and normally there will be a third party.
Sorry, Mr. Sabally, if you're here to help the commission, which I presume you are, could you please put your answers in context? I'm not asking a general question. I'm asking you specifically, what is the discussion that led to your making a suggestion for public funds to be utilized to purchase rams?
The discussion was that the president, as customary, wanted to buy rams to sell at reasonable prices for the Tobaski. Out of that discussion, a consensus was reached that monies be taken from this gateway account and given to him as a loan to purchase these rams, sell them, and once the sale is done, the money would be refunded into the relevant account.
Was that okay with you as Secretary General? You think that was proper, that was right? We just want to understand your thinking at the time.
Well, not necessarily right per se, but it was convenient at the moment under the circumstances.
What was your connection to the president selling rams? What was your interest?
Nothing absolutely. I had no connection with it.
I see. I'll show you Exhibit 16. I'd just like you to confirm for the record.
I have a related question. Ram sale, is that the best use of executive time? You as SG, writing a memo, whether suggesting or confirming his idea, and him as the head of state. Honestly, ram sale, either of you, do you have expertise in ram sale to put the money that belongs to the country to profitable use? What was the background?
I think your question comes in two levels.
Exactly.
Whether that was the best use of executive time.
And then whether you have expertise
yes,
to turn it into profit.
Yes, I don't want to be seen to be defending what happened here, but perhaps you wanted context.
No, the answers could be simplified to yes or no. Context you prefer?
I don't want to give a yes or no answer to this because this is complex. This was the president who wanted to help people in a practice he had been doing, trying to get rams at affordable prices.
Is it ethical to use money that doesn't belong to you to help people? Just simple professional ethics. The civil service has a code of conduct.
Very well.
I'm asking you as SG.
Well,
as a professional, is it ethical to use money that doesn't belong to you to help people?
It is not, but there is a gray area here. This is money he was borrowing to do ram sales, and he promised to refund. And in terms of use of executive time, there are many things we did under that office that didn't fall exactly within our purview. But when we saw that it was in the general interest, we used our time for it.
There were better people to execute that.
Well, once you are working the president and the president gives you an assignment, you don't tell him there are better people to do that.
The executive and the Secretary General are not expected to be involved in ram sales.
I was not involved in ram sales.
You minuted. You
Yes.
used executive time to discuss ram sales,
Yes.
and you minuted and suggested. So that was use of our executive time. That is involvement. Secondly, you mentioned loan.
Yes.
Is there any provision of our constitution or the civil service regulation that allows anybody to loan money to the president? Under which agreement?
Well, This was the president loaning money to himself.